Heartwarming twist, parents steal $25K before my birthday, then discover I actually own it all. Jamie Thompson's heart raced like a hummingbird's wings as her birthday approached. The annual community event she'd planned clouded her mind, where hopes of educational dreams collided with the reality of her family's struggles. In picturesque suburban Oakwood, behind every white picket fence and neat lawn, lay dirty little secrets. Jamie's parents, who worked tirelessly at 2 jobs, had always painted the picture of a perfect family. Yet they grappled with their demons, financial insecurity lurking in every corner like a shadow they couldn't escape. With a smile bright enough to light the dimmest days, Jamie organized her fundraiser, determined to raise money for her college scholarship. Friends pledged baked goods, hands with sun-kissed skin washing cars, and local performers ready to put on a show. The excitement was contagious. But as the date loomed like a clock ticking toward midnight, an awful secret brewed underneath the surface, one she was blissfully unaware of. Her parents, crushed by debt and desperation, devised a reckless plan to steal $25,000 from Jamie's education trust fund. They viewed it not as a betrayal but as a lifeboat tossed to them in turbulent waters. They convinced themselves this was their moment to seize the American dream. As Jamie painted colorful signs and strung lights around the community center, her parents' hearts whispered silent prayers of guilt and conviction. The night before her big birthday event, Jamie stumbled upon a series of secretive conversations, and her world crumbled. The news slammed into her like a freight train, setting her heart racing in a different way. The undeniable betrayal surged within her, morphing love into confusion. She paced her room, the knots in her stomach tightening. How could they? Should she spill the truth now, or wait for a moment that might never come? Torn between loyalty and the need for justice, each breath felt like a weight on her shoulders. Moments later, the discovery of her trust fund's roots sent a shock through her like an electric current. It wasn't just money, it was a legacy. Crafted by her late grandfather, a devoted veteran who sacrificed everything for his family's future. The genesis of each dollar he saved unfolded intricate tales of hope, endeavor, and resilience. Suddenly, the decision hung heavier in the air, a moment that could either fracture her family forever or serve as a chance for healing. But before the world outside set the stage for her birthday event, Jamie faced a voice in her heart, a question: could there be a path to forgiveness? As she prepared to stand before a crowd filled with friends and familiar faces, the weight of her family's actions pressed down harder than ever. Would she confront her parents, bearing their treachery publicly, or find a way to unite her family amidst their failings? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she took a deep breath, scanning the faces gleaming with expectation, Jamie stood at a crossroads, a flood of emotions swirling around her. The culmination of her dreams and the betrayal of her childhood bundled together. Would today be a celebration, or an unveiling of truths? What was more important, the trust she had in her family, or the future for which she fought so hard? With uncertain hands, she gripped the microphone. The destiny of her birthday and her family now rested in her balance. Jamie took another deep breath, her fingers trembling around the microphone. The weight of the moment crashed down heavily on her, mingling with the heat of the stage lights above. She scanned the crowd, their faces bright with smiles, but she could only see the shadows of betrayal that loomed behind her parents. Her father, a figure of authority and love, and her mother, who had always been her rock, now looked like strangers caught in the web of a desperate mistake. Thank you all for coming. She started, her voice steady yet barely above a whisper. The cheers and clapping washed over her, a tide of support she so desperately wanted to embrace. I'm really excited to share this day with you. Just as the cheers faded, a single tear slipped down Jamie's cheek. The warmth and joy of this setting felt like a cruel joke. As she glanced back at her parents, she wondered if they were reflecting on their decisions or if they were still buried in their own justifications, hidden from the truth. Moments like this were supposed to be filled with laughter and joy. Instead, it felt like she was carrying the world. I've organized this event to raise funds for my college scholarship, she continued, her words infused with raw vulnerability, but this year is different. You see, she swallowed hard, the lump in her throat nearly choking her. I found out something yesterday, something that changes everything. Gasps echoed from the crowd, a collective intake of breath that made her stomach churn. Her best friend, Sam, shot her a worried look, but Jamie shook her head slightly. There was no turning back now. My trust fund, she said slowly, wasn't just money. It came from my grandfather, a man who fought for everything he had. He saved every penny for me to go to college, and instead of a future, it's become a burden. The murmurs in the crowd turned electric, a whispered frenzy building up. She could see her parents tense, the fear etched onto their faces. Behind them, the community's support began to splinter as they felt the ripples of betrayal. I love my parents, she pressed on, her voice quivering with determination, but they took money meant for my future, out of desperation. I don't want this day to be about anger or betrayal. I want it to be about hope. I want us to find a way to come together, to heal. Tears streamed down Jamie's cheeks, reflecting the complexity of emotions swirling within her: love, hurt, confusion, and the desire to forgive. I don't want to break my family apart, but I can't ignore the hurt. We need to talk, not just today but moving forward. The crowd was silent, each person sensing the gravity of her words. Some shifted uncomfortably, others looked down, and a few exchanged pointed glances, wondering how her parents would react. Jamie felt her heart pounding against her ribs, a chaotic drum echoing her inner turmoil. Her parents did not move, eyes wide in disbelief. Then her mother stepped forward, speaking quietly. Jamie, stop, Jamie said, her voice sharp yet filled with an underlying plea. Just stop. Let us talk when this is over. Right now, we can't lose focus on what today is meant to be. And just like that, Jamie turned back to her audience, the unshed anger still lingering under her skin, but tempered by a flicker of hope. Let us celebrate the power of community. She shouted, the crowd erupting into applause as she pushed through the next few acts: local bands, a bake sale, and laughter mingling with the AIR.AS. The evening wore on. Jamie smiled through the cracks in her heart, knowing that today was not just a birthday. It was a moment of reckoning and of possibility. The laughter of friends filled the space, but her heart still longed for a resolution. Later, as the sun dipped low, casting an orange glow across the horizon, she felt her parents gaze on her. What would they say? Would they seek forgiveness, or would walls between them grow taller? The night held the answers as Jamie braced herself for what awaited in the looming shadows. With the final few hours of her birthday ticking away, Jamie realized she would need to gather courage for the conversation that could change everything hung just ahead. Would she find the strength to face her family, or would secrets remain buried under the facade of a perfectly organized community event? As the vibrant colors of the sunset faded into a deep purple, Jamie stood behind the stage, her heart racing in her chest. The event had gone better than she anticipated, yet all she could think about was her parents. The weight of their gaze felt like a storm brewing, and the thought of confronting them made her palms sweaty. She glanced at Sam, who had been her sidekick through the whirlwind of emotions today. He offered a reassuring nod, but Jamie could see the worry in his eyes. You got this, he whispered, but it sounded more like a question. She took a shaky breath, trying to calm the tumult inside her. Thank you all for joining in this celebration, she called out, focusing on the crowd. The audience of friends and family still buzzed with excitement, but now it felt distant. They had shared laughter together, yet Jamie could not shake the uneasy knot in her stomach. She could feel the warmth of their support, but it clashed with the coldness that hung in the air between her and her parents. Maybe this was more than just a birthday, it was about taking charge of her own narrative. Jamie's stomach knotted as she realized she would have to address the elephant in the room. She turned slowly, and the soft sound of her shoes on the wooden floor drew her parents' attention. Mom, Dad, she said, her voice faltering for a moment. Their faces were masks of concern. Her dad had always been her protector, and her mom, her confidant. What happened to that bond? Her mother stepped forward, her features softening as she met Jamie's gaze. Jamie, we wanted to talk to you. We didn't mean to hurt you, then why did you? Jamie interrupted, a note of anger rising in her voice. It was out before she could stop it. You took something so precious from me. How could you not have thought about how it would affect me? The crowd hushed, eyes flicking between Jamie and her parents. Tension dripped from the air like rain before a storm. Sweetheart, it wasn't about you, her father tried to interject. We thought I don't care about what you thought. She could feel the fire behind her words, frustration boiling over. I've worked so hard for this, and you just took it. It was mine. Jamie, please, her mother whispered, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. We were desperate. We thought we could find a way to make it right after what? Jamie demanded, shaking her head. After you stole from me? A flicker of guilt passed through her mother's eyes, but Jamie pressed on, feeling empowered. Do you realize how hard it was for me to stand in front of my friends, happy, while knowing you were the ones causing this pain? The silence that followed was thick. Jamie could feel the crumbling support from the audience. She had opened a wound that was raw for them, as well as for her. The night that was meant to be joyful now trembled on the edge of breaking apart. I don't want to fight, Jamie said finally, her voice softening. But we need to find a way to heal this. I can't just pretend everything is fine. Her parents stood frozen, mouths slightly agape. It was clear they hadn't anticipated this confrontation. Jamie pulled in a shuddering breath, feeling the tension shift slightly. Maybe they didn't have all the answers, but she was willing to forge ahead for the sake of her family. Before anyone could respond, a fellow community member stepped forward, breaking the tension. Maybe we should all take a moment to reflect, the man suggested quietly. Perhaps focusing on what we love about Jamie is where we can begin? The crowd nodded, and suddenly, a warm reminder of togetherness filled the air. Jamie felt her heart swell at the thought that they all might come together in this tumult. It was a way out of the storm, a place to start, but just as Jamie found the slightest sliver of hope, her phone buzzed pocket. Frowning, she pulled it out, reading a message that sent a chill down her spine. The reply from a name she hadn't expected to see today ignited a flash of dread. Just wait until you really find out what your grandfather's money could have meant. As Jamie's heart raced once more, she turned to meet her parents' worried expressions, realizing that shadows of the past still loomed large. What exactly was she about to discover? Jamie stared at the screen, the words blurring as her heart thudded in her chest. The name attached to the message flickered painfully in her memory: Uncle Leo. He had always been the uncle with the wild stories, the one who dabbled in business ventures that somehow always turned out poorly. But this felt too important to brush aside. Who was it? Sam leaned closer, his voice a quiet murmur in the charged silence. Just my uncle, Jamie managed, shoving the phone back into her pocket. He mentioned our grandfather's money. There's more to this. Her voice trembled with confusion. Her parents exchanged glances, their expressions a blend of concern and curiosity. What do you mean? Her mother asked softly, her eyes pleading for clarity. Everything, Jamie said, the frustration bubbling back to the surface. This isn't just about what you took. It's about what I might still have. A spark ignited within her, the mention of money made her feel both anxious and emboldened. Jamie, her father began, but she waved her hand, cutting him off. Save it. I need to understand all of this. She set her jaw, shaking off the fear clouding her judgment. I'm going to find out what happened to that money, and she hesitated, and maybe I'll find a way to fix us too. But how? Sam piped up, concern etched on his face. What are you going to do? I don't know, she admitted, feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing her down. But I have to try. I can't just stand by and let this continue. Her resolve solidified as she looked around the gathering crowd. Friends and family who had cheered for her moments ago were still there, waiting, hoping for a connection as much as she was. Their support had been heartfelt, though she could feel the air thick with unspoken worries again. Can we give her some space? Her mother offered gently. Some in the crowd began to disperse, creating a small bubble around Jamie. Sam stayed beside her, fidgeting. She could tell he was concerned about her next move, but it was a thrill that she felt deep down. I need to speak to Uncle Leo. I'll call him. Jamie took a deep breath, steeling herself for the confrontation ahead. I'll figure out what this means. As she dialed the number, the anticipation tightened her stomach. There was silence on the other end before the familiar voice greeted her, a mix of warmth and mischief. Jamie. It's been a while, Uncle Leo said. What can I do for you? She felt herself wavering. I received your message about the money and Grandpa. Her heart raced, wondering if she would finally uncover something the family had kept hidden. Leo laughed lightly, but the sound was clipped. Oh, Jamie. There's a lot to chat about with that, but you must prepare yourself to learn the truth. Just then, Jamie's mother reached forward, a worried expression on her face. What is going on? Not now, Jamie said, gripping the phone tighter. What truth? You need to see the old papers, the will. He paused, deliberately. Everything you think you know about our family finance? It's more complicated than that. Jamie felt dizzy as she collected her thoughts. What could that mean? Was there a follow-up after the storm her parents had created? And how deeply were her family's secrets buried? As she hung up, Jamie turned to her parents. They looked smaller somehow, lost in this sudden swell of uncertainty. You both need to trust me, she said, her voice firm. I'm unraveling something bigger than you realize. Jamie's mind raced as the weight of impending revelations hung in the air. The truth was closing in, and she could almost feel the ground shifting beneath her. Would she be able to handle what was about to unfold, and more importantly, could her family withstand the storm that lay ahead? Jamie's heart thumped in her chest as the realization sank in. She felt lighter, yet heavier at the same time. The potential for discovery was both exhilarating and terrifying. Turning her gaze from her parents, she couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency. The road ahead was foggy, but one thing was clear: she needed to find Uncle Leo and confront him. But how? Seriously, Jamie. What is going on with you? Sam's voice brought her back. Worry twisted his brow, his eyes searching hers for answers. I'm going to find out what happened to the money, Sam. I can't keep ignoring this. Her voice shook, but she felt anchored to her words. What if it leads to more trouble? Family stuff can get messy, you know? His caution made sense, but Jamie couldn't afford to turn back. She needed this. Maybe, but I'd rather know the truth than guess. She retorted, her frustration bubbling. What if there is something we can still salvage? Sam fell silent, the weight of her determination settling between them. He finally nodded, albeit reluctantly. Okay. Then let us figure this out together. Jamie's heart swelled with gratitude, but it didn't last long. She found herself pacing, her mind racing through the implications of Uncle Leo's cryptic message. What kind of papers? What secrets lay buried that involved her grandfather? She could almost taste the raw tension in the air. Her parents remained close, their presence both a comfort and a reminder of the chaos surrounding them. It felt like they were waiting for something to explode, the undercurrents of unease palpable. Are you both okay? Jamie asked, knowing full well that neither of them seemed settled. No, her father replied, breaking the silence. This isn't easy for us either. We just can't. You see, this is bigger than us. There's a whole family history that we've never talked about. Her voice rose, almost pleading. It's not just about you two, it's about what's right. Her mom took a deep breath and stepped closer, eyes filled with tears. We never wanted to hurt you, honey. We just thought we were protecting you. By lying? Jamie shot back, the sting of disappointment making her tone sharper than she intended. The words hung in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash. But she couldn't back down. Not now. She had to peel back the layers of her family's history, no matter how painful it might be. Okay, I'm going to call Leo again, Jamie stated, determination gritting her teeth. I need answers, and I one tea take I'll tell you later for an answer. Before she could dial, her mother's hand landed on her arm. Wait. Maybe we should all go together? We can face whatever he has to say as a family. Jamie hesitated, considering her mother's suggestion. Could the three of them really make it through this together? But what if the truths revealed tore them apart even further? All right, Jamie finally said. But I'm making the call. I have to hear it from him first. Around her, the world seemed to hold its breath. Sam shifted nervously, and her father's eyes bore into hers, a mixture of anxiety and hope flickering like a candle in the wind. As Jamie dialed Uncle Leo's number once more, her heart hammered like a drum. She could almost feel her family's fate hanging in the balance, teetering on a precipice of old secrets ready to spill into the open. This was it. The moment of truth was very near, and Jamie felt a shiver run through her. Would the revelation set them free? Or would they crack the fragile bonds that held them together? Leo? She said softly when he answered, her voice steadier than she felt. We're coming to see you and we need to have a serious talk about the past. The other end went silent for a moment, and Jamie could sense Leo's surprise. All right, Jamie. Just be prepared, things may not be what you think. As she hung up, Jamie soaked in her family's stony expressions, a blend of fear and resolve etched on their faces. She knew that truths often came at a price, and today, they were all about to pay. With her heart racing, Jamie thought, was she truly ready to uncover the secrets that could change everything? And what if the past held more than just the money? The car ride to Uncle Leo's house felt like an eternity. The silence inside the vehicle pressed down on them, making it hard to breathe. Jamie sat in the back seat, glancing at Sam, who was fiddling with his phone, as if trying to distract himself. Her parents were in the front, their body language tense. Every so often, her father would steal a glance at the rearview mirror, catching Jamie's gaze filled with apprehension. Do you think he'll really tell us everything? Sam finally broke the silence, his voice just above a whisper. I hope so, Jamie replied, though her heart twisted at the uncertainty. But I'm scared about what it might mean for us. Her mother turned around, a flicker of softness in her eyes. Whatever it is, we're in this together. We're a family. Together, Jamie echoed, but the word felt heavy, loaded with unspoken doubts. As they approached the house, Jamie could see Uncle Leo's familiar blue front door. It stood there like a sentry, guarding the countless secrets inside. The way it loomed over her sent a chill racing down her spine. She took a deep breath, trying to summon the courage swirling within her. Ready? Her father asked, trying to be encouraging, but his voice cracked slightly. Yeah, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. They stepped out of the car, the chill in the air contrasting with the tight knot in her stomach. Jamie's heart raced as she walked up to the door, her hands trembling slightly as she knocked. Each sound echoed like a drumbeat, reverberating through the secrets of their past. Leo opened the door, his expression unreadable. The warmth of the house behind him spilled out, but it felt like a world away. Jamie, he said, and his eyes drifted to her parents, lingering with a mix of surprise and discomfort. Uncle Leo, we need to talk, Jamie said, finding her voice steady despite the rapid beating of her heart. Come in, he said, stepping aside. They entered, and she could feel the weight of the moment hanging in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. The inside looked the same: old photographs on the wall, mismatched furniture that told stories of a vibrant family life. But it felt different today, colder, like the ghosts of memories were watching. Let us sit down, Leo said, leading them to the living room. Jamie and Sam settled on the couch while her parents took chairs opposite them. The distance felt like a chasm. Before we start, Leo said, his voice calm but guarded, I need you to understand that what you're about to hear may hurt. It's about your grandfather. Jamie swallowed hard, her mind racing with questions. What more could there be? She cleared her throat. Just tell us the truth. Leo inhaled deeply, those few moments making time stretch. There was a reason for the money your parents took, he began, his eyes locking onto Jamie's with a seriousness that sent a shiver down her spine. It was meant for you, a trust, if you will. What do you mean? Jamie's voice was sharp, demanding clarity. A trust for what? For your future, he continued, slowly unraveling the tightly held narrative of her family's past. Your grandfather set it aside, thinking it would help you when you turned 18, a way to ensure you could chase your dreams. A mix of disbelief and confusion washed over her. But my birthday is next week. I thought we needed that money for something else. Why didn't anyone tell me? Leo looked pained. We had our reasons, Jamie. Your parents believed they were shielding you from the family's debts and dysfunction. They thought the truth would only hurt you more. Tears threatened to spill from Jamie's eyes. So, the money was mine all along? They kept it from me? Her mother's eyes were wide, filled with a regret that crashed against the walls that had been built up for years. We thought it was for the best, Jamie. We never meant to steal it. The truth unraveled like threads of a worn tapestry, exposing all the ugly knots they had tried to hide. Jamie felt overwhelmed, her heart beating loud against the silence that followed, each pulse questioning the very foundation of her family's honesty. Then what now? She asked, her voice trembling. What do we do with this? Leo sighed, the gravity of the moment weighing heavily. We face it together. After all, the past doesn't have to define your future. But Jamie wasn't so sure. What if this was only the beginning of her family's unraveling? She looked at her parents, their expressions mirrored her confusion, regret, but also a flicker of hope. The room was charged, and she could feel the stakes climbing higher with each beat of her heart, but there was more to uncover, and she had to know what other secrets lay beneath the surface. Jamie squared her shoulders, determination flaring within her. Okay, but we can't stop here. What else don't we know? The question lingered in the air, daring them all to step further into the unknown, ready or not. The thick silence of the room hung heavy as Jamie's words echoed, each syllable a nudge into the churning waters of uncertainty. Uncle Leo's gaze shifted slightly as though weighing the weight of her question, his eyes flickering with the burden of secrets yet untold. Jamie's heart thudded loudly in her chest, uncertainty mingled with a desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, they could rid themselves of the shadows plaguing their family. All right, Leo began, his voice carrying a hint of resignation. There's more. Your grandfather, he didn't just set aside money for you, Jamie. He made choices that changed the course of our family. Jamie looked at her parents, their faces unreadable, yet something sparked in her mother's eyes, a slight widening, a realization. It urged Jamie to lean in, to pull the truth from the depths of Leo's cautious resolve. Tell us, her father urged, his voice now steadied yet trembling at the edges. We deserve to know. Leo nodded, wiping his brow as if to brush off the weight of memories. Your grandfather opened a business, a local general store. He poured everything into it, believing it would build a legacy. But the store failed. Mortgages piled up. He tried hard to keep it afloat, but he paused, searching for the right words. He didn't want anyone to know how bad it had gotten. He worked himself to the bone, sacrificing everything for pride. The tale spilled like an old, cracked jar, secrets pouring forth until Jamie felt as if the room held countless histories in its dusty corners. And the money? The trust? Jamie pressed, needing to understand how it mingled with their grandfather's story. When he realized he wouldn't recover, he set aside what little savings he had left, thinking once you were old enough, you would make better use than he could. He thought this could give you a fresh start. Unlike him, Leo said, the sorrow in his eyes palpable. Sam shifted uncomfortably on the couch, urging himself closer to Jamie as if seeking comfort from her presence. Jamie could feel the sting of tears threatening to spill. They blurred her vision of the man she had never known, yet felt a connection to. So, what happened after that? She whispered, her mother interjected, her voice trembling. We thought Leon could help us fix things, that he may open the path, but instead, it turned into a trap, dragging everyone down. The truth was always just beneath the surface, waiting to be exposed. Jamie's voice was steadied by an unexpected courage. Did we really think we could outrun it? Confronting the truth doesn't make you weak, Leo said, his voice softened. It's an act of strength. It's about how you move forward from here. In that charged atmosphere, Jamie felt a small flicker of control return. We need a plan, she said firmly, determination burning brighter. If I own this money, I want to know how to use it to honor my grandfather. Not just for myself, for all of us. Her parents exchanged glances, sharing a moment of unspoken understanding, while Sam nodded quietly beside her, the shared weight of their family's history enveloping them. Are you sure? Her father asked, almost tenderly, as if unsure how she'd react to the idea of diving deeper into the murky waters of their family's past. Absolutely, Jamie replied, resolute. We need to face everything together. As they began discussing the next steps, a subtle change in the air surrounded them. It felt as if a layer was peeling away, every word bearing the promise of a tomorrow where they could reshape their story. But as they talked, an unsettling thought gripped Jamie's heart. What if the truth was bigger than they imagined? What if it opened doors to more secrets buried deep? Glancing at Leo, Jamie caught a glint of something in his eye, a hint of a deeper secret still waiting to emerge. Uncle Leo, is there more we don't know? His pause felt infinite. The air simmered with anticipation, each heartbeat echoing a reverberation of uncharted territories waiting just beyond the horizon of their discovery. The silence stretched, thickening the air until it felt electric. Jamie leaned forward, a tight knot forming in her stomach. The threads of her family's history were tangled, each revelation only tightening the weave. Uncle Leo cleared his throat, the sound fragile, as if he walked a tightrope of emotions. There's something else you should know about your grandfather's store, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. It wasn't just the failing business. It was about choices that affected all of us, choices I regret. Jamie exchanged a glance with her father, who seemed to hold his breath, teetering on the edge of whatever truth Leo was slowly unraveling. What do you mean? Her father asked, the sharpness of his words contrasting with the softness of Jamie's worry. Leo's gaze drifted to a photo on the wall, their grandfather's smiling face, unmarked by the troubles that now shadowed his memory. He was involved in untrustworthy dealings. It was never just about the store's failure. There were shady trades, people he shouldn't have gotten close to. The kind of relationships that can cost more than money. As his words hung in the air, Jamie felt the chill of betrayal course through her. Did he get involved with dangerous people? Were we ever in danger? Panic edged into her voice as she met her mother's wide eyes, a startling fear mirrored there. Leo shook his head slowly. No. Not directly. But there were warnings, threats he tried to ignore. He thought he could fix it all himself, protect his family from falling. But he couldn't, and that burden started to weigh on him. Jamie's pulse raced. And this burden, did it lead him to hide what he left for me? He thought. Leo paused, struggling with the emotions. He thought he could shelter you from it all. That by leaving you this money, he could erase the mistakes he made. It's why he forged ahead without telling anyone. Jamie felt the sting of tears. Her grandfather's intention, rooted in love but misled by shame, resonated painfully. But what if those shady dealings are still out there? What if they come after us? Well, they're long gone, Leo hurried to reassure her. The debts are settled, and the people are either gone or moved on. But those ghosts have a way of lingering. Sometimes they fade, and sometimes they can come rushing back if you're not careful. The room felt both far too small and too expansive, a looming potential for danger mingled with hope. The discussions of plans and futures felt distant now. Jamie leaned back, taking a moment to digest the weight of every revelation. But we can't let this stop us, she asserted, still clinging to the thread of resilience she thought they had. We need to take control of what's in front of us. Honor my grandfather properly, as a family. Her father's expression softened, pride carved into the lines of his face. You're right. It's time we reclaimed our story. As the conversation shifted back to plans and possibilities, Jamie couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing atop a precipice. The truth had cracked open secrets but created a vast array of questions. Just as they began to solidify a path forward, Leo spoke again, a note of urgency threading into his voice. "There's something else I found among your grandfather's things. What is it?" Jamie asked, her heart pounding. "It was a letter. One addressed to you," he said slowly, watching her reaction. "And it mentioned a hidden trust no one knew about." The air grew thick with anticipation. Jamie felt her stomach drop, breath suspended as they awaited what lies ahead, a revelation that could turn their world upside down once more. What secrets did the letter hold? What were they really stepping into? The tension hung in the air as Uncle Leo leaned back, letting the weight of his revelation settle over them. Jamie couldn't shake the racing thoughts in her mind. A letter? A hidden trust? What more could her grandfather have concealed? "Where is the letter?" she asked, urgency threading her voice. The thought of it held so much promise, so much potential. It felt like the flickering flame of hope in the shadows of uncertainty. "It's in the box," Leo replied, gesturing vaguely toward the pile of objects gathered from the old store. "I was going to go through it after we talked. I didn't want to pile on too much." Jamie exchanged glances with her father, who nodded, his determination returning. "Let us see it now, then. It might give us guidance on what's next." They hurried to the box. Paper crinkled under Jamie's fingers as she feverishly sifted through old photographs and receipts, breathing in the scent of history. Time seemed to blur as she plunged deeper into the memories of a man she adored yet barely understood. She pulled out an old, weathered envelope, worn at the edges and sealed with a faint wax stamp. "This has to be it," she whispered, holding it like a fragile piece of glass. "Open it," her mother urged, leaning closer. With trembling hands, Jamie broke the seal. She carefully unfolded the letter, her breath hitching as she began to read. "My dear Jamie," the letter began, the familiar handwriting instantly warming her heart. "If you are reading this, then I must have left this world long before I planned. I hope you know how deeply I loved you. This trust was created not just to help you, but to ensure you understood the value of family and the weight of love." The words seemed to float on air, each line a balm for the uncertainty clouding the room. But as she continued, her heart began to race again. "I made mistakes, ones that echoed through our family. This trust is to set things right. It contains not just money, but the potential for new beginnings. Be wise with it. Never forget that love is the greatest legacy of all." Leo watched her intently. "There must be more details about the trust. Who manages it? How much is in it?" Jamie turned the letter over, finding a second page. "It says," she paused, breathless, "that the trust has been valued at $25,000. She barely noticed the wide eyes that met hers. The numbers pulled all her focus within. "What?" her father breathed. "25,000? Just like that?" The words mingled with disbelief and excitement. Jamie felt a wave of emotions, gratitude, shock, a hint of fear. Wasn't this what her grandfather intended? To give her something beyond money? "They must be thought it was gone with all those other deals," Jamie muttered. "But it wasn't just about money. This is about rebuilding and reclaiming everything he left behind. This changes everything." Uncle Leo nodded slowly. "It gives you a choice. You can invest in the family again, honor your grandfather. But it also means you need to be careful. Remind yourself of what the past taught us." Jamie swallowed hard, the enormity of the situation settling in. "I will. I promise." As the reality of the hidden trust flickered with possibilities, a new question swirled in her mind. What would it really mean to inherit this legacy? Was she ready for the responsibility? Their eyes were all on her, expecting her to lead them into this new chapter. Jamie felt the gravity of it, and a mix of excitement and fear washed over her. Yet, somehow, she felt empowered. "Let us use this to build something together," she suggested, her voice steadying. "This time, we can write our own story." Just as they began to mull over what that could look like, a sudden scratching noise echoed through the room, causing everyone to jump. The front door creaked slightly open. Who could that be? A figure stepped into the doorway, silhouetted against the fading light, and the room fell silent once more. What would this unexpected arrival mean for their newfound path? As the shadow stepped into the room, Jamie felt her heart race. It was Uncle Leo's old friend, Tom, a familiar face from her childhood. "I hope I'm not interrupting," Tom said sheepishly, but there was an undeniable gravity to his presence. "Not at all," Jamie's father replied, the tension still fresh in the air, though curiosity had blossomed in its place. "We were just discussing some family matters." Tom nodded, a serious expression settling on his face. "I heard about what happened with the fundraiser and everything. I came to help. There's something you all need to know about your grandfather's business." A ripple of anxiety spread through the room. Jamie exchanged glances with her parents before focusing on Tom. "What do you mean?" Tom took a deep breath, clearly weighing how to navigate the fragile atmosphere. "Your grandfather's business dealings went deeper than what we knew. There were people, some dangerous, who believed he owed them more. He was trying to shield you all from that danger, which is part of why he hid things." Fear brushed against Jamie's heart. "What kind of danger?" "We just learned about a hidden trust." Tom nodded, acknowledging her words. "I came here to warn you. I didn't know what your grandfather had put aside for you, but I overheard folks talking, warning him to pay up or there would be consequences. He was scared, Jamie, and thought he could keep you safe behind closed doors." The air turned thick around them, and Jamie could see her parents flinch at Tom's words. This was far from over, and just as they dared to hope for a fresh start, shadows of the past ensnared them once more. "So, what if those people come back? Are we in danger?" Jamie's voice quivered, uncertainty clawing at her throat. "I'm not sure," Tom replied, his frown deepening. "But I want to help you take control of this situation. And the trust, it's a way to empower yourself. Use it to back your plans and foundation. Get a lawyer, set things right, stay safe. Our community can rally around you, but you need clarity." Jamie felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. It was daunting, but she could feel an inner strength building. "We can do this," she said, her voice unwavering. "We won't let fear dictate our future." Her parents nodded, that flicker of hope back in their eyes. Sam squeezed her arm, a shared bond solidifying through every challenge they faced together. They were a family, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. "What do you suggest?" Jamie asked, turning to Tom. "We need to act fast, especially since we have the money now." Tom smiled, as if she had sparked a new resolve. "First, I can help set up a meeting with a good attorney in town. They'll help you understand the parameters of the trust and your rights, how to use it effectively. After that, we can contact local law enforcement as a precaution. We'll keep you safe." Jamie took a deep breath, looking around the room. Everyone was there, standing beside her, weary but resolute. "Right. Let us do it." As the plan began to take shape, Jamie felt the rush of possibility surging through her. They were no longer running from shadows, they were stepping into the light, one cautious step at a time. Days turned into a blur of meetings, paperwork, and collaboration. That feeling of momentum, of weight lifting, filled Jamie with excitement even as uncertainty loomed. Step by step, they dissected the past, casting out the fears that had lingered in the corners of their lives. They formed a united front, no more secrets, only conversations bathed in honesty and purpose. On the day they officially harnessed the power of the trust, Jamie stood before her family in the sunlight, heart brimming with hope. "This isn't just about mending our past," she addressed her parents, her voice steady with emotion. "It's about creating a future where we can be proud together." Her mother's amber eyes shimmered with tears. "You've shown us how to navigate through some of our darkest moments. This is just the beginning." Her father placed a supportive hand on her shoulder. "We will face whatever comes next. Together." And as they turned to leave that meeting, Jamie's heart soared. The future was no longer a distant dream. With her family by her side, she felt unbreakable. They had faced their darkest chapters, and now they could write new ones filled with resilience, love, and hope for tomorrow. The road was long, filled with ups and downs, but as Jamie gazed at her parents' radiant smiles and saw the twinkle of determination in Sam's eyes, she knew they could face anything. The shadows may always linger, but they had each other, and as long as they did, the light would always shine through. This was a moment of transformation, a testament to their strength, setting the rhythm of a new journey together, through every storm that might try to break them. Now that you've reached this inspiring conclusion, don't forget you need to subscribe now, so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories like this one. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm, and comment below your feelings about Jamie's incredible journey. Did it touch your heart? And finally, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand how important it is to support the channel through these actions, and we want you to be part of our community.